Welcome to the Greening Casino training series produced by Peaks to Prairies and the Western Sustainability and Pollution Prevention Network. In this series, we hear from casino professionals on how to make green by going green. You'll want to watch all 10. In this video, we'll explore how casinos can use strategies to ensure excellent indoor air quality.
And this gentleman is on a nebulizer, and he's suffering from COPD. And he attributes that to his exposure over many years in a casino where he was an employee. When I'm teaching about indoor quality, I teach three basic principles. And of course, if you go to the EPA website, you'll see these listed as the basic principles: source control, ventilation, and air cleaning. And they're listed in the order of preferred action as well. For air pollution sources other than people, source control is the recommended procedure. And they say that standard is fine if there are no carcinogens in the particles. And of course, we know that's not true for tobacco smoke. So the ASHRAE standard says that the only way to effectively eliminate health risk with indoor exposure to smoke is to ban smoking. So we look at this principle of source control. That really doesn't help us with addressing smoking at casinos. So the only thing they say is that it should have more ventilation than a comparable non-smoking area. So it means we should ventilate it at the highest rates of any area in any building. And it also tells us that we should not recirculate air that we've been exposed to smoke. So what this means is the typical HVAC system returns, you have supplies and returns, and some of the air goes back through the return. It's put back into the system, and they add a little bit of outdoor air to it, basically to dilute pollutants, and then put it back into the building. And ASHRAE says that we should have 100% outdoor air. There should be no air from the smoking area recirculated. Proper ventilation in a smoking casino is going to be a high energy cost, because that means you have to heat or cool all of that outside air before you pump it into the building. A lot of casinos do use this method to try to address smoking in the casino, but many of the methods that they try to use actually make the air quality worse. So one method is to use ozone. Now, ozone actually smells kind of nice. In fact, it's been referred to as spring fresh air, and that's because it's often affiliated with thunderstorms. Lightning strikes actually produce ozone. But you can buy a machine that will put ozone into your air, and it'll be sold under different names, and it doesn't even always say ozone on it, because ozone is actually an air pollutant. And in fact, to make matters worse, chemical reactions with ozone and cigarette smoke could actually add more dangerous air pollutants. So bottom line is, if you're going to use air cleaning methods, do not use ozone. Another method that some casinos will try is air fresheners. So there's a wide variety of air fresheners on the market. You can go to a typical grocery store and you'll find entire shelves full of air fresheners. And basically what they're doing is covering up the smoke smell, but they're also adding more air pollutants. And then another approach, I've worked with a village in Alaska that proposed to buy a bunch of electrostatic cleaners. And there's several issues with those, but they may also add ozone. And the challenge with these is that depending on what they're called and how they're used, like for example, ionizing light bulbs are a popular one. They cause particles to glum together, which is good, because then they tend to fall out of the air. But the problem is they don't eliminate them, so they're still present. So these particles can adhere to furniture, to walls, etc. And then as they're disturbed, they're re-emitted into the atmosphere. So you can buy these devices, but none of them are particularly effective. When we're talking about indoor quality and smoking casinos, The only way to fully protect non-smokers is to make it a non-smoking environment. However, if for political reasons, economic reasons, whatever the justification is that we need smoking in casinos, aggressive ventilation will reduce the discomfort and health risks, but they won't eliminate them. And then I've read one disturbing report of one tribe that investigated their casino, doing monitoring and such, and it turned out the arcade where children were playing was actually one of the more contaminated areas. And obviously there's a problem with the building ventilation system that would allow that, but my response is that children should never be exposed to cigarette smoke.
Casinos here that have a non-smoking section or a separate non-smoking room, and I certainly do agree with him that although they are non-smoking, they're not really. So several things went into our decision to open the non-smoking casino. First, if any of you are familiar at all with the casino market in Oklahoma, we have, gosh, over 100 to 120 native-owned casinos with over 30 tribes participating in that enterprise. So the casinos are somewhat, especially in my area, my market, very close together. So it's sometimes hard to differentiate yourself as far as, from a business standpoint, because there are so many casinos. So certainly, one of the things we looked at is, there's could that be a competitive advantage? And often you hear people, over the years I've heard people say, I love going to the casino, but I can't take the smoke. I would love to come to the casino, but I can't be around the smoke. So I really felt like that there was a potential, the potential of an untapped market there in Oklahoma, but it did give the employees that work, some of the employees that work at our larger casino, the opportunity to go to this facility that was non-smoking, and certainly we had some that transferred simply for the fact that there wasn't the smoke. So I really feel like that was a good thing to do for employees. The casino is doing extremely well. We've been contacted by, many non-smoking groups from the region and even across the country telling us thank you. We have guests that come into the casino every single day that tell us thank you for opening the casino with no smoke.